What do the Today Show, Queen Elizabeth II, David Hasselhoff, and Toyota have in common? According to Wikipedia, 1952. The Today Show aired for the first time, now becoming one of America's longest-running television series. Queen Elizabeth II was crowned Queen of the United Kingdom, and the legend known as David Hasselhoff was born. A hairy crab would later be named in his honor. And as for Toyota, well, in 1999, Toyota's average age buyer was born in 1952, making the average age of people buying Toyotas 47. Toyota recognized that too many of their cars were seen as unappealing to the younger people, i.e. boring, and thus Scion, which means descendant in Middle English, was born. In this branch, it should represent an edgy division with interesting cars, offering many customizing options to appeal to a younger audience. So 14 years later, have they succeeded? To help answer this question, let's take a look at this, the 2013 Scion TC. This also happens to be a limited production release called Release Series 8. Yes, there were 7 of them prior to this one, and features some modifications developed in conjunction with the design studio, 5-Axis Design, as well as TRD, which stands for Toyota Racing Development. Features over the standard TC include absolutely red paint, body kit, gloss black wheels, rear lip spoiler, central mounted exhaust by TRD, TRD springs, a paddle shifter in this automatic version, and a sticker. And to help boost desirability through rareness, only 2,000 will be made across the world, 250 of which will be coming to Canada. In order to qualify the success of this branding exercise, I will be running a series of tests that I will call scientific. Basically, I will see if this car would tick all the boxes of a young person. So the question is, can it get me home safely after a night of partying? And just to be purely scientific, I did that last night. And let's go over some of the safety features. It's got Toyota's new Star Safety Program, which is a mixture of a lot of different elements which are designed to make the car safer. Yes, people, get out of the way. Why are you walking in the middle of the road? That's not very safe. As part of the Toyota Star Safety System, they feature the Vehicle Stability Program, traction control, and of course the standard, anti-lock brake system, which if I test here, snowy conditions, stops quite well. I mean, granted I have snow tires, but it's quite slick outside, and the brakes work very well. So that works really well. It's also got a program called electronic brake force distribution, which helps ensure that the brakes don't overload one particular brake at a time. So it just means that you optimize the amount of braking that each wheel gets to minimize as much stopping as possible. There's also a lot of airbags. There's the usual airbag on the front and passenger side, which are the front airbags. There's also airbags on the seats. There's airbags for the knees. There's airbags on the side curtain area. So quite safe. And Scion traditionally has had a tremendous crash safety record. So that's very good to see. Using that ABS right there. On the stop sign, I didn't see it till the last minute. So works pretty well. On top of the airbag system, it's got a host of other features as well, which quite honestly, if I were to list them all, would take up an hour. But one of the main things is these headrests are designed to kind of flex with your head and support your head in the event of an accident. So you do get an extra benefit there, a little bit of extra neck protection. So the question is, does the traction control work? Because that's a common thing that people are concerned about, and in order to be properly scientific, I want to make sure that this gets tested out. So that's what I'll be doing today, is testing out this traction control system, purely for scientific reasons, of course. All right, so let's try out this traction control with it off, anyways. Let's see what it can do. Okay, handbrake turns are easy in this car, especially in the snow. Counter steer, easy with the throttle. That's not bad. See if I can do a finish flick. I'm knocking my camera over. Alright, people are looking at me now. Steering wheel is quite precise. You know, does show some potential. Although even with the traction control off, the car still beeps at me every time, you know, it doesn't have a lot of traction. Finish slick. Got to get that weight transfer over, but because it's front wheel drive, I can't continue the momentum. It's fun, but it'd be better if it's rear wheel drive. So what have we learned testing the traction control by turning it off in a snowy parking lot? Well, traction control cuts in even when you turn it off, and you can't complete a slide because it's front wheel drive. So it's safe. Yeah, that's it. Okay, what's the next test? What else would young people think about? This is a Lamborghini. The Aventador J, actually. It has loud paint, black wheels, a central exhaust, and a funny shaped steering wheel, and epic music. The Scion TC also had these elements: loud paint, black wheels, central exhaust, and a funny shaped steering wheel. Sadly, this is where the similarities end, because peel back those flashy features and you have a shape that is not actually that interesting. It's kind of like seeing a girl that has a nice dress on and fancy makeup, but do those elements make her hot? I'm not so sure. Maybe I have a weird taste in women, so I took to the streets to find out what some young people would think. So here I am, at the secret hideout of youngins. These youngins were a tough group to crack though, as they were very protective of their lair.
Excuse me, do you guys want to be featured in a video? No? Okay. Excuse me, do you guys mind asking some questions about this car? Answering some questions. Okay, thank you. Do you mind answering some questions? Okay. I just asked some guy if he wanted to answer some questions, and he said, not unless I'm getting paid.
I've been there for almost an hour, and was cold, and was about to pack up and go home, when in a last-ditch effort...
Excuse me, do you guys mind answering some questions? Sure. Yeah? I'm especially talking to the guy with the wolf hat there, that's okay? So what do you think about the car? You like it? You like it? You like the look? What about the car do you like the most?
How it was designed.
Okay, cool. Would you buy this car?
Yeah.
You would, eh? Okay, that's good. Do you think you could really impress some girls with this car?
My name is Genevieve.
Genevieve, nice to meet you. And how old are you approximately?
I'm between 20 and 25.
Okay, so as I said before, this car is trying to appeal to a younger audience. It's called the Scion TC, and what do you think of it? Just looking at it.
It looks great. I like the rims.
Okay, cool.
It reminds me of my first car.
Oh, okay.
And so I know driving a small car like this, having a back windshield wiper is great. So
Yeah.
already this is appealing to me.
Wow. Okay.
From the looks of it, the dash is fairly modern. It's a bit different than my car, but I think I would certainly take a look at it.
Awesome. So if let's say if a guy pulled up to you with this car, would you be more likely to date him?
Would I be more likely to date him? It depends on the guy, I guess. I hope I'm not that materialistic.
Okay, so sorry, I didn't catch you guys' names. Andrew, nice to meet you.
I'm Lauren.
Lauren, nice to meet you. And so, what do you guys think about this car? First impressions.
It's really red.
It's really red. Okay, is that good or bad?
I'm not a fan of red cars, personally.
Don't mind it. Okay.
Definitely
Definitely
stands out.
Definitely stands out. Okay, cool. If you guys had 27 grand, would you buy this car? No, and why not?
Because I would buy the FRS. And I did.
Oh, very good. Okay, so that's funny. I drove the FRS, and I think the same thing. But okay, cool. And as a guy, and obviously you guys are together, right? But as a guy, and if you weren't with her, do you think you'd be able to pick up more girls with this car? Compared to, I don't know, a Civic?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'd say so.
Okay, and from a girl's perspective, would you be more likely to go out with a guy? From a girl's perspective, would you be more likely to go out with a guy who drove a flashy car like this?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I'm not big on like materialistic things.
Okay, but better than that.
It's nice.
Okay. So, sorry, what's your name again? Tyler. And how old are you approximately?
17.
17. Okay, cool. And what do you think about this car? It looks like a racing car. Okay. What do you like the most about this car?
I don't know. I like the rims.
You like the rims. Okay. Okay. Cool. And if you had $27,000, would you buy this car?
Yes.
You would. Okay. Cool. Do you think you could pick up some girls with this car?
I think so, yeah.
My name's Katya.
Katya, nice to meet you. And how old are you approximately?
I'm 23.
23. Okay. And what do you think about this car?
Not bad.
It's not bad. Okay. What do you like about it, and what don't you like about it?
I don't really like the back.
You don't like
Kind
the.
of looks a little boxy.
Looks a little boxy. Okay.
I like how it's kind of, I guess the design,
Yeah.
kind of fast car.
It looks like a fast car. Okay. Fair.
Something like that. Like it kind of looks like a Honda, I guess.
Okay.
You know, the Honda Civic.
Looks like a Honda Civic.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
I think the only thing I changed about it is it's a little boxy at the back.
Looks a little boxy at the back. Not quite sleek enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the word. Yeah, it looks compact. So
Looks
it's good
compact.
in the safe in the city.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, not bad.
Okay. And let's say if a guy pulled up to you with this car, would you be more likely to date him?
No.
No?
I don't know, there's something about it. It's kind of like a school car.
It's like a school
Like
car.
a first car. I
It's
wouldn't
like a first.
really go
Okay.
for it as like a long-term car.
Right. Okay. So it doesn't look
That's just
practical enough.
Yeah, but also I'm a person who goes for style, not really practical.
So you go for. Okay. No. That's
Yeah, I definitely go for looks. Like that's a big component of it to look for a car.
You know what? That's a very interesting statement that you would go for style versus the practicality side, because they're actually trying to make this car more stylish.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I find
Call
that.
me.
What's your guys' name?
Janine.
And Vin.
Janine, Vin? Okay, cool. And how old are you guys approximately?
I'm 29.
32.
32, okay, cool. And what do you guys think about the way this car looks?
Actually, I didn't really actually get to take a look.
Not really a big fan of the shape.
Okay. You don't like the shape?
No, I like the top is black one. It's pretty cool. Is that a sunroof? Or?
Yeah, there's actually a double sunroof
Double
on
sunroof.
top, yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of how chunky it looks.
It looks too chunky?
Yeah.
Okay.
Originally, I actually thought it looked like a Celica.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really stand. I don't know if they're trying to stand out, but it doesn't really look different than any other car. Like it doesn't
Okay.
catch my eye, as in if I were to look at it,
Yeah.
it just reminds me of an old Celica.
So the shape's
yeah,
the shape's a little bland.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
bland.
And this sentiment was generally echoed with a few other people that interviewed. Okay, so granted this isn't properly scientific, as I only asked a few people on the streets, but for me this is a confirmation of what I think as well. The wheels and some of the individual details are nice, but it's not enough to capture one's attention. Unless you're cool enough to wear a wolf hat. So is this a fun car to drive? Well, let's go over some of the facts first. On paper, it's not a very good start. It's front-wheel drive. It's got an engine from the base model Toyota Camry, which is a 2.5 liter engine putting out at about 180 horsepower. And it's got this special release Series 8 version has the automatic gearbox and the paddle shifters, which frankly don't work that well. Whenever I've tried to drive the car with some gusto, I've been kind of let down by the transmission. And it can't make up its mind what gear it wants to be in. And I think that's a real shame. There's also an eco mode in this car, so if I turn it back on, what it does is it automatically lowers the RPM. I'm assuming by disconnecting the torque converter whenever it feels like you let go of the gas, which is perfectly fine. But the problem is that as soon as you step on the gas, it's like, oh wait, I gotta drive again. And it holds onto the gears, and it, okay, like that's an automatic mode. So let's put into manual. I got some corners coming up, and I'll drive, shifting. It's like a 1 second delay. Not really prone to sporty shifting. And it changes gear for me even when I don't want it to. Like in sport mode, on a paddle shifter, I would expect the car to hold gears for as long as I want and stay in the gear. And in this car, it just shifts automatically even when I don't want it to. So I have not changed gear a single time. And listen, I'll step on the accelerator. I didn't tell the car to shift. So look, it just shifted again. Like, I haven't told the car to shift. I want to drive it in this gear, and it's saying, nope, I know better than you do. Kind of like a cat. It looks cool, but it never does what you want. Without the manual transmission, I feel like I can't even properly test the car. All right, let's go. I'm young, I'm eager, I want to get moving, and I mean, in some ways I guess it's good that there isn't that much horsepower in this car, but it's a 2.5 liter engine. I expect a little bit more. With this release series 8.0, they talk about it being a joint venture with 5-axis design, and it's got the TRD developed springs and a TRD exhaust, and it's got that funky exhaust on the end, which is really just a shroud for a single pipe that's like this big coming out the back. But the sound doesn't really get me that pumped up, and you can't really expect it to be that good because it is based off of a Camry engine, which isn't the world's best sounding engine to begin with. The base of this car is based off of the Toyota Avensis, which is sort of like Europe's version of the Corolla. And so when you put together a Corolla chassis with a Camry engine, it's very difficult to make that exciting and youthful. It's kind of just gone into the parts bin and grabbed a couple of pieces here and there. I don't know. Can you expect it to be that exciting? Maybe the people who drive this car won't really mind. But again, I'm thinking in the mind of a youthful person, what would I want to do? Would I want to have this? And then as soon as I let go of the accelerator, it goes back into eco mode. I don't know. I guess people just have to drive it and see if that's what they want. I don't think it's really for me, though. Again, thinking in the mind of a youthful person. So what about the steering? It's a bit numb, if I'm honest. And the Lamborghini style sort of flat bottom multi-shaped steering wheel might look cool, but it just feels a little strange. You go through a turn and you kind of let the steering self-center, and you just feel all these lumps going around through your hand. So it's just different. It's comfortable though. I can cruise in this car, and I think that's what this car is really meant to do. It's more of a cruiser. If I'm just cruising, I can drive this car and that's what it's good at. Okay, so let's say you don't care about how it drives, but you love the look and you want one. How much does it cost? Base price for one is around 21 grand, but this release Series 8 version with the paddle shifters is over 28 out the door. Seems like a bit of money. What about fuel efficiency? Well, considering I was driving on snow part-time and it was on winter tires, it came out with a pretty impressive 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Not bad for a 2.5 liter engine. So one of the cool features of this car is that lift back. I personally think it's just pretty handy to have one. I'm not sure it actually gives you that much more room over a normal truck, but it just makes things so much easier to get out. Not bad storage space too when you pull the seats flat. Too bad they don't go completely down. The rear seats are decently sculpted and there's actually this thing called legroom back there. Scion offers the standard a USB hub which has iPod, iPhone connectivity, along with an auxiliary cigarette outlet for any other devices you wish to hook up, such as a GPS. The touchscreen interface is a half-decent one, allowing you to connect via Bluetooth to your phone, although I wish you could get satellite navigation to help you if you get lost, since you are going to be a young, irresponsible person who didn't study the route prior to leaving on the trip.
You know, one thing I gotta say about this car is it's quite airy feeling. So, you know, the two dual sort of skylights they have here makes the place feel nice. Actually, it's always very bright. If you don't like light and you're a vampire, then you know you could definitely close that off. You know, it's not too hard. You just, right, so pretty straightforward.
The interior trim quality is a bit plasticky. You can tell the plastics are just hard, which is okay on the base model TC I think, but when you option this RS8 version out, we're pushing into GTI territory, which will be much nicer than this.
So one of the issues with the TC here is that the visibility is just absolutely brutal. The car's got very blunt and sort of bluff edges, and backing out of this, being a youngster, I would want to go to a fast food chain, and it's not easy to back out of this parking lot since I can't see anything. So I'm kind of relying on looking around a whole lot to not crash into people, which is not as safe as ideal.
So, has the Scion branding worked? I don't have access to the official numbers, but here's what I do know. Honestly, I'm not sure what Scion is or why it is needed. Perhaps I'm dating myself here, but I always remembered gawking at Toyotas when I was a kid, be it the MR2, the Supra, the Celica, or the Corolla GTS. What happened to those cars? Those were the kinds of cars that made me want a Toyota. Certainly I didn't think Toyota was boring then, and I think this is a problem here. This TC feels like it was developed by people with MBAs that were challenged with a growth strategy, rather than people who are passionate about cars. This release Series 8 especially feels like a marketing exercise. Special editions of cars should only exist if the car is special. If Scions are supposed to be edgy, then why has the TC existed for 7 years now with little change? Some flash paint, nice wheels, and what you call paddle shifters aren't good enough. By definition, in order to be edgy, you have to be on the cutting edge. Same applies to the XB and XA/D, which has changed little since its inception. For 20 to 30K, you could buy a Scion FRS if you wanted something more fun and better looking, a Hyundai Veloster if you wanted something more edgy, or a Honda Fit if you wanted something more practical. The TC is not a bad car, but that isn't good enough. This car needs to be better looking and better to drive. Like a restaurant with nice decor, you will only have repeat customers if the product is good as well. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a Toyota hater. I grew up with Toyotas, I love the FRS, and I want more than anything for Toyota to succeed by making interesting cars again. But I don't think this is it. The FRS is a shining light in this brand, and I would happily take that instead.